Before I begin the video, I just want to flag, as always, that I am not a qualified financial advisor and nothing I say should be considered as financial advice. Hello, I'm the Geordie Saver and today is a big video. So you'll have guessed from the title of my video that I'm going to be talking about getting my mortgage balance below £100,000. Now, this is something that has been mine and my partner's goal for a while, probably since we got the mortgage. So our original mortgage balance was £160,000, and that was about 7 years ago now. And then we were thinking, being over £100,000, to a lot of people, who maybe live down south, probably don't think that's a very big mortgage balance at all. But to me, it felt like a few times our income. So the goal has always been, can we get it from, well, the goal's always been to pay it off. But the goal, the kind of first step along that is, can we get our mortgage from being six figures to being five figures? Because then it'll feel a lot less in our head for paying off. So it's taken us a while. We've, tried overpaying every single month in the past couple of years. We've managed to hit those goals. And yeah, this at the end of January, our mortgage balance was £100,788. And although my primary aim at the moment is building up my emergency fund, I really wanted in February to just focus on the mortgage and get it below that £100,000 and yeah, just hit that milestone. So I know I'm blocking the figures up here, and I'll share them in a minute. And you already know that the balance is going to be under 100,000. But I thought I'd just want to reflect on the milestone that this bit is in our journey. So let me reveal what we did this month, or last month I should say. So we started with 100,788 on the mortgage. We then made our standard payment of £510, and then made an overpayment of £635. So how that was split is that £100 is automatically an overpayment, because I factor that into the mortgage. So the mortgage standard payment's £510, but we actually pay the mortgage company £610 or £609. So £100 automatically an overpayment. There was then £25 that was through my Sprive mortgage overpayment app. That's an auto save that comes from my bank account. The extra £10, it was either through Sprive or it was just an extra overpayment. And then I actually overpaid £501 as the kind of big lump sum that would get us below the balance. Now, the reason I did £501 was because I wanted to see the reduction in term as well. So the way my mortgage provider works is that I've selected that overpayments, and I've only done this recently, is that overpayments reduce my term. So there's a few, depending on your mortgage provider, like my one, in my experience, there's a couple of options you can select for how your overpayments impact your mortgage. So one way is that you can have it reduce your term, which I've done. So, but for you to see the impact straight away, that mortgage overpayment has to be over £500. So hence why I overpaid by over £500, so I could see the reduction in term of all my overpayments. And then the interest that accrued in the month was £89, because February is a shorter month, so 28 days instead of 30 or 31. So there was a couple of days of interest that didn't accrue. And if you're new to this video, you might think, oh, why is your interest so low? And the reason is because I'm on an interest rate of 1.16%. I get lots of comments, which, happy to take comments of people saying, why are you overpaying on such a low interest rate? Some of the rationale for it is because actually I'm I'm not on this interest rate for the lifetime of my mortgage. My mortgage is due for renewal in 2026, at which point I will be moving, I expect, to a 4% or 5% interest rate. So any overpayments I make now is less money I'm having to pay at 4% in a year and a bit's time. And yes, I acknowledge, the other thing is, well, I could potentially get 7-8% on investments, and I am trying to build my investment balance alongside this, but there is also a behavioural kind of peace of mind element that comes with paying off the mortgage, which I also need to factor in alongside the potential benefits with interest rates. So that meant that the end balance in February was £99,732. So I spent a few days at the start of March just keep looking at my mortgage balance just to be like, yes, I am under £100,000, and yeah, it just feels really good because it is something that we've worked hard towards, and actually now thinking of our mortgage in terms of multiples of our income, it's probably, gross income wise, I'm just going to do the maths now, it's probably just over one and a bit of our gross income, like maybe 1.5 gross income, which is nice, and I think as well, putting our equity into perspective as well. So our property is probably worth around £230,000 to £240,000. So if we were to sell, say we have equity of £130,000, the more that equity we have in it, the more I think, wow, if anything really goes wrong in life and we just want to be mortgage free, could we find a property somewhere in the northeast for £130,000? Probably we probably could, be mortgage free. And as the years progress, the more equity builds, and the more realistic that would be. But I've got no plans of moving. But it's just that, if anything goes wrong, and we're both out of work, could we use that equity to buy something cheaper? So that meant that the balance paid off in February was £1,056, which is great. And I would say, February is going to be a one-off this year because, I don't want to, maybe I'll hit my emergency fund goals really soon, but I want to have £6,000 in my emergency fund because I feel vulnerable at the moment that my emergency fund is like 2,000 and something. So yeah, that's definitely my priority. So the total so far this year, so we've got the starting balance, 1,000 in standard payments, 800 in overpayments, interest so far accrued just under £200, and then the balance paid off so far this year is £1,655. So just some stats. So percentage paid off in 2025 so far from the balance at the start of the year is I'll stop flicking. 2%. Our total overpayment so far is £27,166. And then our current mortgage end date. So this is an interesting one, and I'm gonna move this. So the video before this, the current mortgage end date was January 2044, and it had been like that for maybe about 6-7 months. And the reason it's kept at January 44, even though I was making overpayments, was because my overpayments were always under £500. So they didn't do a term change on my account. But now that I'm in February, I made the overpayment, the £500 overpayment, plus all the overpayments I'd made, the £100 overpayments I'd made each month, that all then got taken off my mortgage term. And it went from January 44 to April 43. But the original term date was March 47. So actually, these £27,166 overpayments have reduced my term by nearly 4 years. The original length of the mortgage was 30 years, and now it's 26 years. And yeah, it's not 26, just to mention, it's not 26 years from today. I'm on about like when I originally took out the mortgage 7-8 years ago, it was 26 years. So at the moment, there is like 18 years officially left on the mortgage, but I'm overpaying each month, so I expect that hopefully this will keep on coming down. Yeah, so I'm trying to think what can I say to wrap up the video. So probably that, plan is keep overpaying every single month, no matter what the amount. I also want to balance my overpayments with my emergency fund and my stocks and shares ISA, because at the minute our wealth is heavily weighted towards our property, which is great, but it's not a liquid asset. We can't easily access that money that's in the property. And yeah, I'm gonna keep on making these videos, and if you're on a similar journey, then as always, drop a comment down below, and I'll see you on the next video.